Good morning. My name is Anna Kim, and I'm with the Scarborough Civic Action Network. Welcome David Cheng to Ward 22 Votes, a nonpartisan community-driven endeavor organized by the Scarborough Civic Action Network in partnership with Agincourt Village Community Association, Agincourt Community Services Association, Senior Persons Living Connected, and the Toronto Youth Cabinet to enable voters to learn about the Ward 22 by-election candidates and make an informed vote during the election. David, please start by telling us why you are running to be councillor for Ward 22. What have you done in the ward prior to this election? How long have you lived in the ward? And how would you support Ward 22 residents, including youth and seniors?
So I'm running because I'm really frustrated. I'm frustrated that we're not getting the same support as other parts of the city. Scarborough Agincourt is still Toronto, and we're just as Toronto as what you see at Yonge and Bloor. I've heard residents, and I've supported residents through issues such as renovations, overcrowded buses, and healthcare cuts at the grids. Although I don't physically live in the ward, I can say that Agincourt Scarborough is where much of my life is. Agincourt Mall, Agincourt Library is considered my second home. I've gone through, I know what residents go through when they take the 85 bus. I take the Finch bus. I basically live on the Shepherd bus. So what I'm trying to basically say is that you don't necessarily need to live or sleep in the ward to necessarily understand the ward. Ward 22 at Victoria Park in Finch and Ward 22 at Midland and Shepherd are two very different communities, two very different neighborhoods that have very specific needs. And when it comes to what I'll do for youth and seniors, I really want to support housing initiatives, and I want to make sure that everyone has an affordable house.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Rhoda Potter, and I'm with Agincourt Village Community Association. The first question is about safety. We've heard about safety concerns, including pedestrian and cycling safety, personal security, and community safety in our neighborhoods, including school areas. How will you work to improve safety in Ward 22 and address this wide range of issues?
So I'm not convinced that more police officers on the streets will lead to safer communities or neighborhoods. What I do believe is that keeping kids busy with arts and sports will keep them away from engaging from folks on the streets as well as police. Scarborough Agincourt is home to many racialized families who are often over-policed, and to be honest, it's a waste of money. We need to spend money on programs like the ones at Lamoureux Rec Center, where programs are free. I will make sure that the Bridletown Community Hub gets similar funding and becomes as accessible as what Lamoureux is today. We will make sure that it does get built. Crime, poverty, and housing go hand in hand. We can't really address poverty without addressing the crux of it, which is basically housing as well as addressing poverty. If we can address poverty, we can address issues such as crime. Road safety also can't be a war against motorists, pedestrians, and cyclists. We need a way where we're strategic about speed cameras, we're strategic about traffic lights, and we make the city friendly for everyone. Again, it can't be three different forms of travel against each other.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Michael with the Toronto Youth Cabinet. The second question we have is about transit. As we all know, transit is a long-standing issue in Scarborough, with many years of nothing being done, plans being changed, and overall inaction, with residents ultimately paying the price. Where do you stand on much-needed improvement to public transit, specifically on key issues such as the Shepherd Avenue subway / LRT, and or a transitway / bus lanes on Finch Avenue?
So when it comes to transit on Shepherd Avenue, I am supporting a subway. The reason why I'm supporting a subway is because we already have existing infrastructure at Domino Station, and we're going to be having hopefully a Scarborough subway that's going up to Shepherd. So in terms of existing infrastructure, I do support a subway. However, I do want us to think about what a subway kind of entails. And a good example is what we see at Warden Station and what we see at Yorkdale Mall, where on some parts of Shepherd, the subway could possibly go above ground. With it being above ground, we can save a little bit of money, which could possibly be used towards initiatives such as the Finch BRT. Finch West is already going to be getting an LRT on the west side. it's a matter of time before Finch East also gets an LRT. However, in that time of getting the LRT, we need a BRT, we need a bus lane. I take Finch enough to know that having a BRT is going to make traffic very problematic on Finch. So I'm proposing that we expand the lane on Finch, and what will that do is that it's going to make construction for a future LRT easier, and it's going to move people faster.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Harper with Agincourt Community Services Association. The third and final question is about community improvements. Ward 22 is lacking in a lot of important community infrastructure, has no designated neighborhood improvement areas, and many community members are being impacted by COVID-19. We need more community spaces, social programs, playgrounds, affordable housing with particular attention to seniors, and employment opportunities. We have a very diverse population and many people are voiceless. We also have a lot of development happening in the ward. How will you work to address this range of issues and needs?
So I'm going to really focus on housing. We really do need affordable housing. It doesn't matter how many social services we have out there. It doesn't matter how many playgrounds we have out there. It doesn't matter how many social supports we're providing. If we're not providing housing, if folks are not going home to safe environments, if youth are not getting home to safe environments, if older adults are not aging at home, we're really hurting the community. Agincourt Scarborough is a highly racialized community. We have multi-generational families who simply are so close to each other because they simply cannot afford housing in the area. We need to increase housing inventory. We need to push developers to increase affordable, inclusionary zoning policies, and we have to be really progressive and strategic in how we think about housing. We have existing funding models like the Canada Ontario Housing Benefit that is a funded program until 2029. It actually takes people off waiting lists. We need to advocate to larger governments, provincial and federal governments, to fund this program, because at the end of the day, without safe housing, a community cannot grow. And it does not matter how much efforts we're putting into social services. We just need to get housing first, and that's my approach, a housing first approach.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, David Cheng, for taking part in Ward 22.